Hi again then guys, and welcome to, of course, another speed build in the world of Forza Horizon 4 in particular. This time we've moved away from stuff like JDM and Civics back into the world of supercars and hypercars. And this, of course, is essentially a byword for fast. The McLaren F1, a legend for good reason, great all-rounder. But one of the things that I like about Horizon 4 actually is that they actually treat this car with a lot more respect than they used to. The top speed used to be good, but now it's great. One of the quickest supercars in the game, in fact, as you doubtless saw from the title. Now, as far as the tuning itself, some things are fairly obvious. As far as the upgrade side of things, you want to fit your racing tyres, fit the twin turbo conversion, I believe it is, convert it to all-wheel drive to be quicker off the line, all that kind of good stuff, fully upgrade the power. Of course, you could try to do it in S1 instead of S2, but you're not going to get exactly the same performance because you have to sacrifice some stuff. But as you can see from the benchmark, even without drag tyres, this is a monster. 2 seconds to 60, 4.2 to 100, but that top speed, that 6th gear and that top speed in particular is monstrously quick. It's up there with what the Bugatti EB110 would usually be, one of the only cars that is capable of 280 plus. And of course, stuff like the Jag D-Type or the Jaguar XE could do that before, but I'm talking pure supercars. Now, as far as the gearbox tune on this one, it actually looks fairly close together if you look on the graph, but you'll notice that the graph reads up to 339 miles per hour in terms of theoretical speed. So yeah, it's not close ratio at all. It's a seriously quick car. Now, as far as the final drive, as I said, I've gone for 2.85 for that one. Then for the gears themselves, I've gone for 3, 2, 1.5, 1.18, 0.95 and 0.76. Very familiar, very familiar if you've used my tunes before. As you would also expect from me, neutral camber, neutral toe. You might want to give it some camber if you go for rear-wheel drive, but I would recommend all-wheel drive basically for all cars unless you're specifically opposed to it, because on a game that involves off-roading, wet weather, snow, it just helps out so much, plus it's quicker off the line. So there are too many good things about it and not enough drawbacks for me to not recommend all-wheel drive. If it was a circuit racing game, of course that would be different, but it's not, so it isn't. As far as the caster angle, once again I've gone as high as possible. As far as the handling, it's a little bit more twitchy than some others. The car itself is quite physically small compared to today's supercars, so of course it's going to be twitchy. The real-life McLaren is a fairly twitchy vehicle anyway. As far as anti-roll, we've got that on 20, front and rear. Springs on 95, 150, and I've opted to have the front end just a little bit lower than the back. As far as the dampers, 10, 14, 5 and 6. Aero, of course, doesn't apply. And as far as the diff, pretty familiar setup, 100% for acceleration, 0 for decel, and of course you can change those if you want to. And as far as the balance, I initially had it on 80% for manoeuvrability, but due to the fact that the car naturally has a very manoeuvrable front end, and as I said just now, it's fairly twitchy, I've opted to just lower it a little bit back down to 75. If you still find it too twitchy, you could even take it down to 70. Or, if you want it to be more twitchy and more manoeuvrable, of course you could have it on 80, or maybe take it even a little bit higher if you wanted to. But be careful how high you go, because of course eventually it just misses the whole point of having all-wheel drive at all if you're sending everything to the back wheels only. So that's it for the tune, of course, but now what you want to see is what can it actually hit. Now, as you can see from the car in action here, most of the time, in a similar way to stuff like the Koenigsegg Agera RS, it has that kind of top speed potential, but actually reaching it is another thing entirely. Not that it can't do it, I mean it doesn't struggle, that's for sure, it's just that the roads in Horizon 4 aren't necessarily as long or as straight as they were in Horizon 3, such as the highway sections. It's great, but the traffic is annoying, you have those kinks in the road which makes it a little bit more difficult, but as you can see from here, it can get over 280 pretty easily. So 285 is all but guaranteed, 284 is the quoted benchmark, so I'd love to hear if you actually managed to take this tune beyond that even, because it's definitely capable of that, and as an all-rounder, it's strong, a very strong car. So if you want to check out my other tunes, you can click right here to do that, and for now, as always, thanks for watching.